And we are getting some breaking news now. The river Yamuna has broken all-time record now, 207.55 at 1 p.m. That is where the reading stood at. Now, Delhi Chief Ministers called for an emergency meeting at 2 p.m. at the Delhi Secretariat on the rising levels of Yamuna in the national capital. Remember, breaching all records, this has been a cause of concern ever since there was unstoppable rains, incessant rains, at least on Saturday and Sunday, the weekend in the national capital, and because of which the swelling levels of Yamuna have been concerning. And now a meeting at 2 p.m. has been called on an emergency basis by the Delhi Chief Minister. We will try and re-establish a connection with one of our colleagues who would offer more perspective on the rising levels of Yamuna. We'd seen how the Delhi ministers like Atishi were on ground. They were taking stock of the situation on what really can the breach of the decided mark limit of Yamuna can have at the people who are staying in the low-lying areas. Remember, most of the people have been, in fact, relocated to safer places. They've been asked to move away from the low reaches of the Yamuna because of the swelling of the water that's been reported. And now, as it's reached the all-time record, it has reached 207.55 as opposed to 205. That is when this meeting has been called as far as the Delhi Chief Minister is concerned. My colleague Rupashri Nanda is joining us on the broadcast for more on this. Rupashri, this was pretty evident and this was something that the Delhi government was keeping an eye on. And like we are mentioning, this is an all-time record as far as the Yamuna breach is concerned. So a high-level, an emergency meeting chaired. What all is expected to be discussed?
Well, all measures are going to be discussed in the sense that how many people have been rehabilitated so far, how many people have been rescued so far, is the evacuation process complete, what is the forecast for the next 24 hours, is there a threat of the water levels rising even further and going beyond the Yamuna floodplains. Remember, yesterday, Aam Aadmi Party Minister Saurabh Bhardwaj had said that there is no threat of flooding when it comes to residential areas. But the threat actually comes when we talk about the Yamuna floodplains and people living over there in those low-lying areas. And all these ministers actually, since morning, we saw Atishi would be just out just now. Saurabh has already been out on the roads since morning, visiting different places. And Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal is going to take stock of all the kind of work that has already been done. And if there's anything that needs to be done more. And remember, just a day before, he had an emergency meeting and he had ruled out the chance of any floods in Delhi. But he had said that it is contingent upon the volumes of water that is being released from the Hatnikund barrage in Haryana. So the situation in Delhi actually would be largely dependent on also the rainfall conditions in northern India. So an emergency meeting has been called and everything is going to be reviewed.
All right, Rupashri, thank you so much for bringing us that update from the meeting that's expected in the national capital as far as the Delhi Secretariat is concerned. We will first try and get our viewers a sense of what exactly is happening as compared to the rest of the country if we look at the national capital specifically. 2 days of incessant rain, and this is what has happened. As you can see behind me, these are visuals from the Yamuna Bridge area, and you can see the bridge over here. This is next to ITO, and you can see the gushing water levels that have risen beyond the danger mark, and that is the real cause of concern. And that's why this emergency meeting has been called. If we actually take a look at the next set of visuals, we are constantly telling you about how the river has crossed the danger mark, and through these visuals there you can see one of the temple areas around the Yamuna. All the people who are associated with the temple premises have been asked to move out and relocate themselves to safer areas, and this is the level of water that we are bringing to you. As you can see, it's almost to the knee where the water levels have risen to. So people who are staying very, very close to the Yamuna banks have been asked to move away. A lot of families have been impacted. As you can see, these are in fact people who are living in these areas, and these are the impacted people who've had to be relocated, and that's why that emergency meet has been called by the Chief Minister of the national capital. My colleague Akash Sharma has got you a ground report from close to the Yamuna bed. Let's take a look at that.
You see, Yamuna has crossed the danger level mark. In fact, 48 hours have already been passed. In fact, day before yesterday, Yamuna crossed the danger level mark. But as of now, it is flowing above to the 207 mark. Whenever we talk about the flood condition in the national capital, so this whole scene, in fact, reminds us of the 1978 when the water level was in fact recorded at 207.48. But now I'm showing you the visuals of famous Shani Mandir. Here in the Old Delhi area, where in fact you can see the two visuals. First of all, this particular board where we have this Shri Shani Chalisha written, and you can see the visual there, and also this this boy who is standing. In fact, 3 to 4 feet of water. In fact, this water has come inside to this particular temple premise, and also as far as these people are concerned, so they are saying that a number of animals, aquatic animals, are seen in this particular water. आप मुझे बताइए क्या नाम है आपका और अब कब पानी आया इस मंदिर?
कृष्णकांत शर्मा नाम है मेरा।
अच्छा।
और कल रात से पानी आना शुरू हो गया था मंदिर में।
कल रात से पानी शुरू हो गया। सांप वगैरह भी आ रहे हैं?
सांप वगैरह भी है, जानवर वगैरह भी आ रहे हैं।
अच्छा, तो आप लोगों से बोला गया है यहाँ से चले जाने के लिए या सामान
करने के लिए बोला? वाटर लेवल अभी और बढ़ेगा।
अच्छा, वाटर लेवल और बढ़ेगा। तो क्या कुछ आप कर रहे हैं? कैसे क्या कुछ सामान यहाँ से पिक कर रहे हो? कहाँ लेके जाएंगे?
सामान है मंदिर का, वो सारा यहाँ से मंदिर से बाहर कर रहे हैं। हाँ। हाइट पे कर रहे हैं। हाँ। ताकि वो खराब ना हो।
My colleague Yash is joining us live on the broadcast. Yash, first of all, tell our viewers where exactly are you at in the national capital and what is the situation, considering the rains have stopped after 2 days of incessant rainfall and yet the waterlogging is being reported from various areas in Delhi.
Well, Griha, right now I'm in the central Delhi area, and like you rightly mentioned, from the last 24 hours, rains have in fact subsided in the national capital. There are occasional showers which Delhi is witnessing, but what's worrying is that now the all-time levels of Yamuna, the danger mark, has been breached, and in fact now the water level stands at somewhere around 107.55 meters, which is actually breaking all the records of the last 40 years, because last time around we saw such water levels was in 1978 when a flood-like situation happened in the national capital. And in fact, as a precautionary measure, 144 CRPC has also been invoked in various parts of the national capital, and in particular in the low-lying areas where the flood plains are there, and in fact the places where these people reside. And in fact, if we go by the official number, around 34,000 people stay in the low-lying areas, and that is why this number is very crucial, because the large population lives in certain plains and in fact in these sorts of areas. And what we're given to understand is that authorities don't want any untoward situation to arise. In fact, early in the morning we got reports from different areas of the national capital. From Yamuna Bazaar we got you the report. From Yamuna Bank side we got you the report. From various areas we got you the report how the regular life has been hit and how the people are struggling to actually take out their in fact to empty their houses, since the water is almost neck deep now in these areas. In fact, one of these areas are also near ITO, which is the Hathi Ghat or the ITO Ghat, where the Chhat Puja used to happen.
Yes.
All these low-lying areas in fact are being inundated in water, and most of these people are struggling to in fact
Absolutely. Yash, thank you so much for that update. I'm really sorry to interrupt you. We are going to this next piece of breaking news now on the broadcast.